If you drive a car and you're over 65, something is happening right now in most states that's going to affect you the very next time your license comes up for renewal. And here's the problem. Most people have no idea until they sit down at their computer to renew online, the way they've done it for years, and discover they can't do it that way anymore. By then, they're scrambling. Sometimes they're scrambling right at the DMV counter and it costs them. Today, I'm going to walk you through what has actually changed in 2026 for senior drivers across the country. The real rules, the real states, the real ages. And the one thing most people forget to do before they walk into the DMV that ends up costing them their license on the spot. But before any of that, I need to clear something up. Because the internet is full of panic right now, and a lot of what's being shared is flat out false. You've probably seen posts claiming there's a new federal law requiring all drivers over 70 to take annual road tests, cognitive screenings, or face automatic license revocation. That is false. Fact checkers at Snopes traced those stories to websites with names like The Licking News, sites that looked professional but were actually publishing AI-generated content designed to generate clicks. These fake articles mixed genuine state changes with completely invented federal mandates, creating a Frankenstein narrative that terrified millions of seniors. There is no federal senior driving law. Driver licensing in the United States has always been controlled entirely by individual states, and that has not changed. What has changed is what those individual states are requiring. And those changes are real. They're already in effect, and you need to know them. Let's get into it. The first and most immediate change is one that millions of seniors are going to hit the very next time their license expires. The ability to renew your driver's license online, something that used to take 5 minutes from your couch, has been restricted or eliminated for older drivers in about 17 states plus Washington, D.C. as of 2026. Let me give you the specifics, because the age it kicks in varies a lot by state. Arizona starts in-person requirements at 65, the earliest of the big states. Ohio and Oregon now block online renewal at 65. Wisconsin and Iowa block it past 65 to 70. By age 70, Arizona, California, Iowa, Louisiana, Nevada, North Dakota, and Washington all block online renewal. If you're in California and you turn 70, you must renew in person. No online option, no mail-in option. Virginia, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island kick in at 75. Texas requires in-person renewal at 79. Now here's a piece of good news buried in this that the older fact sheets haven't caught up to yet. DC now allows online renewal for drivers 70 and older IF. A physician signs a fitness certification. A recent change the IIHS tables haven't even caught yet. New Mexico now allows it with a physician vision certificate too. So a couple of places are actually adding back an online path, as long as your doctor signs off. Why is this happening at all? Because in-person renewals let DMV staff conduct vision screenings and other checks that simply can't be completed through an online form. For the millions of seniors who've been renewing online for years without any issue, this is the first surprise. The next time your expiration date arrives, you may not be able to click a button and be done. You'll need to drive to a DMV office, take a number, wait in line, and complete it in person. The single most important takeaway from this whole section: do not assume you can renew online just because you always have. Check your state's DMV website the moment this video ends and find out what age your in-person requirement kicks in. The second change affects how often you'll need to make that trip. Renewal periods. The number of years your license stays valid before you have to renew again have been shortened for older drivers in most states, and the difference compared to younger drivers is significant. A driver under 65 in most states renews every 6 to 8 years, one trip to the DMV per decade. Here's what the schedule looks like for older drivers in 2026. In Illinois, the renewal period drops as you age, going to annual renewal at 87 and older. In Texas and Indiana, it drops to 2 years at 85 and older. In Missouri, it drops to 3 years once you turn 70. In Indiana specifically, drivers 75 to 84 typically renew every 3 years, and drivers 85 and over renew every 2 years, almost always in person. And there's one important exception worth knowing. New York keeps an 8-year renewal at every age they treat a 75-year-old and a 45-year-old identically. So the rules really do vary wildly depending on where you live. What this means in practice, instead of one DMV visit per decade, an older driver may now be looking at a DMV visit every 1, 2, or 3 years, indefinitely. For the states requiring annual renewal, that's a trip to a government office every single year for as long as you keep driving. The cumulative time, inconvenience, and frankly, the stress of that schedule is something most people don't fully process until they're living it. The practical move here is simple. Find out your state's renewal cycle for your age bracket now, mark the date, and don't let it sneak up on you. An expired license is a much bigger headache than a renewal handled a month early. The third change is the one most likely to catch seniors off guard right at the DMV counter, and it's the most important to prepare for in advance. Vision testing. About 19 states require age-specific vision testing beyond what's required for younger drivers. The most stringent, Florida at 80 and older, Maryland at 40 and older, California at 70 and older, Massachusetts at 75, and Maine at 62. Georgia requires a vision test at 64 and older, Alaska at 69. Some states require a vision test for all drivers at every renewal, so the rule isn't senior specific, but older adults are affected either way. Here's the problem that trips people up, and I want you to really understand this. The vision screen at a DMV counter is a basic test. The most common benchmark for an unrestricted license is around 20/40 visual acuity. Drivers who need glasses or contacts can often pass with corrected vision and get a corrective lenses restriction. But that basic screen does not check night vision, sensitivity to glare, depth perception, contrast sensitivity, or progressive eye conditions like early macular degeneration that may not yet affect your basic acuity reading, but absolutely affect your driving. This matters for two reasons. First, if your vision has changed since your last renewal and you walk into the DMV without knowing your current acuity, you could fail the screen on the spot and leave without a valid license. That's a genuinely bad day, and it's avoidable. Second, even if you pass the DMV screen, passing doesn't mean your vision is adequate for every driving condition. Real-world driving depends on seeing clearly at night, noticing movement from the sides, reading signs quickly, judging distance, and recovering from glare, none of which the basic screen catches. So here's the practical step, and most people skip it. Before your next renewal, schedule a full eye exam with your optometrist, not just the DMV counter. If they find a correction or treatment that improves your vision, address it before you go. And here's the part that can save you a trip entirely. Many states let a licensed eye doctor complete a vision report instead of making you rely only on the in-office DMV screen. In Indiana, for example, some seniors can still renew online or at a kiosk if they send in a recent vision report from their eye doctor. If your state allows that, take advantage of it. Knowing your status before you walk into that office gives you time to act instead of leaving you scrambling after a failed screen. One more practical rule the safety agencies recommend. If you've started avoiding night driving, left turns, highways, rain, or busy intersections because seeing the road feels harder, treat that as a signal to get your eyes checked, regardless of when your renewal is due. Now for the one piece of genuinely good news for senior drivers in 2026. And it's significant if you live in Illinois. Illinois was the only state in the entire country that required a mandatory behind-the-wheel road test based solely on a driver's age. For years, Illinois drivers had to take an actual driving test with an examiner, just because of a number on their birth certificate. It created enormous stress and anxiety for older Illinois drivers, many with completely clean records. That changed when Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the Road Safety and Fairness Act, House Bill 1226, which takes effect July 1st, 2026. Under the new law, the mandatory road test age jumps all the way up to 87. It's widely considered a major win for senior drivers. Now, one important correction here, because even some news coverage has gotten the old number wrong. The previous mandatory road test age in Illinois was 75, and it's moving to 87. Under Illinois statute, effective July 1st, 2026, a renewal applicant 87 and older must demonstrate the ability to safely operate a motor vehicle. So drivers between 79 and 86, and really anyone under 87, will no longer face an automatic road test purely because of their age. They'll still need to pass a vision test and a written test if they have violations on their record. But the automatic behind-the-wheel test based purely on age is gone for that whole group. The new law also introduces something Illinois never had before, a family reporting system. Immediate family members, a spouse, parent, child, sibling, or grandparent, can now confidentially report concerns about a loved one's driving due to medical or cognitive decline. That gives families a constructive way to raise a genuine safety concern without it turning into a painful confrontation. And here's a smart timing tip if you're an Illinois senior. If your renewal falls before July 1st, consider whether you can time it with the new, more lenient requirements, rather than getting caught under the old road test rule. Check with the Secretary of State's office on your specific situation. Let me tell you about a financial benefit most senior drivers never use, and it's real money left on the table. It's the AARP Smart Driver Course. It's a refresher driving course specifically designed for drivers 50 and older. It covers current traffic laws, defensive driving techniques, and, importantly, how age-related changes in vision and reaction time can actually be managed behind the wheel. The course takes about 4 to 8 hours and is available both in person and online. Here's the financial part. Most auto insurance companies in most states offer a discount of up to 5% on your premium for 3 years after you complete the course. Let me put that in real dollars. 5% on a $1,900 annual insurance bill is $75 a year, $225 over the 3-year discount period. And remember, that's on top of the actual safety. Benefit of refreshing skills you may not have formally reviewed in decades. If you've never taken this course, or if it's been more than 3 years since you completed it, it's worth doing before your next insurance renewal. The discount alone usually more than covers the modest cost of the course. One note, the exact discount and whether it's mandatory for insurers to offer it varies by state, so confirm with your specific insurance company. But in most of the country, this is a straightforward way to lower your premium and sharpen your driving at the same time. Now let me look ahead, because this is changing fast and I want you positioned for what's coming, not just what's here. Here's the clear direction of travel. By 2026, many states, including Alaska, Arizona, California, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, Texas, and Virginia, strengthened their regulations for senior drivers. While there's no federal law, paying closer attention to vision and reaction time as drivers reach their 60s and 70s is a broad national trend. So what should you watch for over the next year or two? First, more states shifting toward physician-certified renewals. The DC and New Mexico model, where you can renew remotely if your doctor signs a fitness or vision certification, is likely to spread. That's actually good news. It trades a mandatory DMV trip for a form your eye doctor fills out. If your state adopts it, it could save you the in-person visit entirely. Second, watch for the kiosk plus vision report model that Indiana uses to expand. It's a middle path. You skip the full counter visit but submit a recent eye doctor report. More states are likely to adopt that hybrid approach because it balances safety with convenience. Third, expect more family reporting systems like the one Illinois just created. These give families a formal, confidential way to flag a genuine concern. If your state adds one, it's worth knowing it exists, both to use it if you ever need to, and to understand that a single anonymous report typically triggers a review, not an automatic loss of license. And fourth, keep an eye out for more AI-generated hoaxes, because they are not going away. The fabricated federal senior driving law stories were specifically AI-generated content built to terrify seniors and harvest clicks. As these fake news operations get more sophisticated, the rule to live by is simple. If you see an alarming headline about driving laws, verify it at Snopes, or better yet, your own state's official DMV website before you believe it or share it. Never trust a third-party site for your renewal rules, only the official state source. Let me give you the full picture for 2026 in one clean checklist. 1. Online license renewal has been restricted or eliminated for older drivers in about 17 states plus DC. Check your state's DMV website to find out when your in-person requirement kicks in by age. 2. Renewal periods have been shortened to as little as 1, 2, or 3 years for drivers in their 70s and 80s in most states. That means more frequent DMV visits for as long as you drive. Know your cycle and mark the date. 3. Vision testing is mandatory at renewal in about 19 states for older drivers. Schedule a full eye exam with your optometrist before your renewal date, not after. And ask whether your state accepts a vision form directly from your eye doctor. 4. If you live in Illinois, drivers under 87 no longer face a mandatory road test as of July 1st. This is the single most significant positive change for senior drivers this year. 5. The AARP Smart Driver course can save you up to 5% on your auto insurance for 3 years. And sharpen your skills while you're at it. 6. Watch for physician certification renewal options, kiosk plus vision report systems, and family reporting programs spreading to more states over the next year. And 7, the golden rule, verify everything at your official state DMV website. Not a third-party site, not a social media post, the official source. Here's the bottom line, and I want you to hear the reassuring part clearly because the hoaxes have made people far more frightened than they need to be. Your driving privileges are not going anywhere, as long as you continue to meet your state's requirements. No state automatically revokes a license based on age alone. The goal of these age-triggered requirements is more frequent check-ins, not barriers to driving. But those requirements are becoming more demanding, more frequent, and more difficult to complete from the comfort of your couch. The seniors who navigate this successfully are the ones who know their state-specific rules, prepare for vision testing in advance, and handle their renewals proactively, rather than waiting until the last minute and getting caught off guard at the counter. So, do these 3 things this week. Check your state's DMV website for your in-person and vision requirements by age. Schedule an eye exam if you're anywhere near your renewal date. And if you're in Illinois, breathe a little easier. The road test that caused so much stress is largely gone. You've earned the right to drive, and with a little preparation, you can keep that independence for as long as it's safe to do so. That's what this is really about, not taking the keys away, but keeping you safely behind the wheel. If this was helpful, subscribe and turn on the bell, because these rules change quietly at the state level, and by the time most people find out, the deadline has already passed. Share this with someone you know who drives and is over 65. It might save them a wasted trip, a failed vision screen, or a lapsed license. Drop a comment and tell me your state. I'll do my best to point you to the right resource.